What's up, everybody? Today is October 3rd of 2021. Down in the description below this video, you'll find links to two recent videos I made. And those links will take you directly to the chapter of those videos where I talk about the Gabby Petito story. And what I've focused on in both of those videos is how the story of Gabby Petito is a strong numerical connection to the death of Norm Macdonald. And the second video talks about the addition of Dog the Bounty Hunter to this Gabby Petito story, and how it too is an extension of this riddle, more numbers connected to Norm Macdonald. And just to briefly explain the connections here, the ones that I was focusing on the most. Gabby Petito was born just 5 days before the debut of The Norm Show, a TV series that began airing in 1999. When she was found dead on September 19th, it was 5 days after the death of Norm Macdonald. And in Gematria, 5 is the number that connects these two people. Gabby Petito, who has birth numerology of 50, also has Gematria of 50. The name Macdonald equals 50, or 5 in numerology. And in this case, Brian Laundrie is using the Fifth Amendment to stay out of trouble. And the number 5 has more connections between these as well. And let's scan down to another big one. The name Norm Macdonald sums to 55 in standard reduction. And when his television series debuted back in 1999, it was on a date with 55 numerology. Now, the 55th prime number is 257. And Norm Macdonald was born exactly 2,057 weeks before Gabby Petito. And then he died on the 257th day of the year. These are numbers that connect Dog the Bounty Hunter to this story. When Dog the Bounty Hunter joined the chase, it was on another date with 55 numerology. The name Dog equals 55, like Norm Macdonald. And his birthday was 257 days before Norm Macdonald's, the 55th prime. However, in doing these decodes, I knew that I was missing a strong link that brought this all together. Because even I was sort of doubting this connection. Like, why would the death of Norm Macdonald be connected to this story about Gabby Petito? Well, this brings us to yesterday's event, where pro-abortion rallies took place all over the country in response to some laws that were put in place in Texas banning abortion after, I think, as little as 6 weeks. Now, everybody has opinions on abortion. I have my own. You can visit my blog if you want to read about them. But understand that this is an issue that is basically permanently divisive. And it's why this matter gets so much attention in the media, is because it's another way to keep the people divided. People are very emotional about this topic, understandably so. So this is going to be continued to be pushed out into the media. So in order to decode this rally, I made a little post on this, and I noticed that the big catchphrase here was reproductive rights. Now, when you say reproductive rights, it makes it sound like they're fighting for the right to reproduce. Of course, that's not the case. They're fighting for the right to stop reproduction at a certain point. But the significant part about this is that reproductive rights, in the language of Gematria, using our standard reduction or Pythagorean method, reproductive rights sums to 102. And think about yesterday's date where this occurred, October 2nd, written 10/2. And in order to further decode this, I looked into the Roe v. Wade story, this case back from 1973, which ultimately led to the federal legalization of abortion. And it does appear that this march is connected to the numerology of Roe. And Jane Roe from this story died 241 weeks before this march. Her real name is Norma McCorvey. So check this out. This whole time I've been talking about the connections with Norm Macdonald. Well, it turns out that Roe, in the Roe v. Wade case, her real name is Norma McCorvey. And now abortion rights under assault by legislation, people standing up for these rights. This, to me, is the logical connection I was missing with those decodes, because this is a huge part of it. And let's just show some numerical links between these, because it's all really strong. We start with the primary number of the Roe v. Wade case. Notice when this case was decided. January 22nd, the date written 1/22. The word abortion has gematria of 122 in reverse ordinal, and this abortion case, which also equals 122, finished on 122. Norma McCorvey has birth numerology, her last birthday before this case had numerology of 122, and then the case was resolved 122 days later. So 122, very significant to this. Now, a lot of these women who were marching on the streets this past weekend, of course, people not marching when their constitutional freedoms regarding their ability to visit establishments, their abilities to work, people didn't march for that very often, but they are marching for this. Anyway, a lot of these women are thinking about Gabby Petito and her story. This is dominating the minds of women lately. And understand, it's a long-term agenda. They want people to not only fear who they don't know, but fear their own loved ones. And that's what this is all about. So look at the name Gabby Petito in the alphabetic order. It sums to 122. And this is particularly significant because her March 19th birthday falls a span of 122 days after Brian Laundrie, who is, of course, under investigation, being hunted down by dog for this whole thing. And the numerical connections between Gabby Petito and Norma McCorvey are very, very strong. I pointed out how her birthday was March 19th of 1999. This gives her primary birth numerology of 140. Norma McCorvey was born as Norma Nelson, and in Gematria, Norma Nelson equals 140. Norma McCorvey was Roe. Meanwhile, Wade was Henry Wade. And the name Henry Wade also has this 140 in reverse. And measuring from the beginning of the Roe v. Wade trial to the date that it was decided was 1 year and 40 days. 140, right there in Gabby Petito's birth numerology. Now, not only was it 1 year and 40 days for this case, but it was also exactly 58 weeks. And 58 is the reduction value of Norma Nelson in reverse. I found it interesting that in Gematria, Roe v. Wade equals 123. Roe v. Wade led to the legalization of abortion, which equals 123. And look how many days were between the birthdays of Roe and Wade. 12,003, 123. So Roe v. Wade led to the legalization of abortion at a federal level. Most abortions in America are done by Planned Parenthood. I think they account for approximately a third of all the abortions in the United States, according to statistics. And this number here is up over, I think, 350,000 per year now. So this means that about 1 million babies being terminated prior to birth every year. That's a lot, isn't it? So anyway, Planned Parenthood was founded way back in 1916. And just think about this, right? Planned Parenthood, PP. P is the 16th letter. Planned Parenthood was founded on the 16th of the month in the year 16. So there's a lot to unpack here. We can look at that later. But the big thing I want to look at is the founder of Planned Parenthood, which is Margaret Sanger. And the name Margaret Sanger has gematria of 66. And notice when she died, 9/6 of 66. Of course, 9 is an upside down 6. So how curious, right? But look at the day that Margaret Sanger was born, September 14th. Well, that's interesting because Norm Macdonald just died on September 14th. Now, if you measure from the birth of Margaret Sanger in 1879 to the death of Norm Macdonald on the same date, it was exactly 142 years. Norm Macdonald is a comedian, which sums to 142, and the name Norman Macdonald equals 142 in the alphabetic order. So how strange is that? Furthermore, consider how Planned Parenthood was founded on October 16th, which falls just one day before Norm Macdonald's birthday. In my previous posts, we focused on the numerology of The Norm Show, which came out in the year 1999, just 5 days after Gabby Petito's birth. This Gabby Petito story is connected to Norma McCorvey through some more interesting numbers. Now, if you measure from the death of Norma McCorvey on February 18th of 2017 to the disappearance of Gabby Petito, which was reported on September 11th, look how many days you get, 1,666, which looks a lot like 1999, the year that Gabby was born. But not only do you have the 666 here, this is also exactly 238 weeks. 238, like the gematria of 666. 238, remember the moon, an average of 238,000 miles from the Earth. This is all very significant. And 666 is 275. The abortion rally yesterday held on the 275th day of the year. But there's more interesting numbers connecting Planned Parenthood to Gabby Petito. The name Margaret Sanger in the reverse alphabetic order equals 231. Now, the number 231 is interesting here. Notice how Missing White Girl equals 231. In this post, I mentioned how Missing White Girl equals 1173, and Gabby Petito was 1,173 weeks old when she went missing. This connects to Norman Jean Macdonald, 173. He died exactly 1,173 weeks after The Norm Show debuted. But back to this 231. Missing White Girl, 231. Margaret Sanger, 231. When Norma McCorvey died, notice how it was on the 18th of the month. And we're being told that Brian Laundrie was born on the 18th of the month in the year 1997. So he would have been exactly 231 months old when Norma McCorvey died. And check out the name Gabrielle Venora Petito. Gabby Petito's full name is 231. Now, her name is also 336, and Norma's death also fell 336 days after Gabby Petito's birthday. So I hope this is all starting to come together a little bit. All of these news stories occurring within a couple weeks of each other, all connected to the same ritualistic code. Gabby Petito has more connections to Margaret Higgins, Margaret Sanger. So Margaret Sanger's birth name was Margaret Higgins. So when you write out Margaret Higgins, look at this, 156, 249, and 87. And the name Gabrielle Petito, 156, 249, 87. Sorry, guys, just perusing my notes here. I'm looking for some more connections. It's worth noting that the name Norma equals 61. Norma, 61. And I understand, at risk of jumping all over the place a little bit too much, consider how Norm Macdonald, his name was Norman Jean Macdonald. And this reminds us of Marilyn Monroe, whose name was Norma Jean Mortensen. And there's actually a stronger connection between these two. And to bring this together, think about the song Candle in the Wind by Elton John. Now, Elton John wrote Candle in the Wind in the year 1973. Marilyn Monroe equals 73, and this song is about Marilyn Monroe. Now, 1973 was the same year that Roe v. Wade was decided, right? But what's so interesting about Candle in the Wind is that it was remade in the year 1997. And 97 is a huge number to all of this. Norman Jean Macdonald equals 97. And consider how he was fired from Saturday Night Live at the end of 97, right around the same time Brian Laundrie was born. And in 97, he remade this song to honor Princess Diana. And Princess Diana was, of course, the former daughter-in-law of the Queen. And the Queen is numerically connected to Marilyn Monroe. Both Marilyn Monroe and the Queen were born in 26, just 41 days apart. Elton John equals 41 in reduction. And then she died in 62, right? Born in 26, died in 62. Queen equals 26 and 62. And Queen Elizabeth even became the Queen on the date 2/6. Her coronation was on 6/2. So I just found that interesting, right? Again, I'm kind of straying a little bit with this part, but it's pretty fascinating. One other thing that I wanted to mention was this police video with Brian Laundrie and Gabby Petito. So this police footage was taken on August 12th of 2021. And this is a big focus of the story, right? Gabby crying for an hour as Brian's over here chumming it up with the cops. Now, this video, again, August 12th, the date written 8/12. Or, internationally, this date would be written 12/8. The date 12/8 falls 267 days after Brian Laundrie's birthday. And the name Brian Laundrie equals 128, like the date, the 12th of August. His full name is Brian Christopher Laundrie, which sums to 267. And again, this date, 267 days after his birthday. How perfect. And you have to appreciate it's another Christ riddle. They gave him the Christ for the middle name. And then his name is 984, which is just one off of Jesus, 985. There's so much interesting numerology about Roe v. Wade and how it connects to the Jesuit order. I really encourage you to check out the post. I don't want to go through all of this right now. A little bit more about how the march yesterday was coordinated with the death of Norma McCorvey. So for starters, Norma McCorvey died on February 18th, and this is the date written 18/2 internationally, like 182. In the alphabetic order, Planned Parenthood equals 182. She died in the year 2017, which in numerology represents 217. And International Planned Parenthood Federation sums to 217. Norma's death fell exactly 217 days before her birthday, with the end date included. And if you measure from her death to yesterday's rally, you get exactly 241 weeks, which is the Gematria value of Norma in English Extended. Now, 241 is a prime number. That would be the 53rd prime number, and 53 was yesterday's primary date numerology. Not only that, 53 has Gematria of 122, just like abortion. All these people rallying for abortion in a completely manipulated numerical ritual. Again, I'm not going to look at this full post. I'll link it in the description below, but the big part of this riddle is the phrase legalization of abortion. We mentioned the 123 earlier because Roe v. Wade equals 123. There's 12,003 days between the birthdays of Roe and Wade. The 111 stands out. This case was re-argued on October 11th, or 10/11, among other riddles. But look at these large number ciphers. This is where it's really interesting. Legalization of abortion equals 115 in Jewish Gematria with the 0. And this is the same as killing in the same method. Killing is 115. And that's what the legalization of abortion is. It's the legalization of killing. Now look at the dates that Roe v. Wade both began and ended. Arguments began on December 13th of 1971, which has numerology of 115. The case was decided on January 22nd of 1973, which also has numerology of 115. In Satanic Gematria, the word killing equals 319. And when this case was re-argued, Norma McCorvey was 300 months, 19 days old. In Sumerian Gematria, killing equals 444. And if you measure from the end of Roe v. Wade to the death of Norma McCorvey, it's exactly 44 years and 4 weeks. The name Norma equals 444 in reverse Sumerian. Her death also fell 7 months, 4 days before her birthday, both killing and Norma with ordinal values of 74. There is a very, very strong link to the Jesuit order as well. And, you know, it's really strange because you look at Margaret Sanger and you read about her beliefs, her philosophies. This seems like a good woman. You know, she may have founded Planned Parenthood, which is responsible for all these abortions, but this woman was actually against abortion. She opposed it throughout the entirety of her life, instead being a heavy proponent of birth control, which stands to reason a lot more. So is it possible that her organization was infiltrated and twisted, turned into something else? I'm not sure what really went on 100+ years ago. But it is interesting. And Norma McCorvey's father, dead on the Jesuit order's anniversary. Norma McCorvey, born exactly 270 weeks after Planned Parenthood International was founded. And there's this incredible 1952 sync in here as well. So in 1952, Planned Parenthood became an international federation. The year 1952. And if you measure from the Jesuit order's establishment to the birth of Henry Wade, you get 19,520 weeks, right? Well, on the date that Henry Wade died, Roe, or Norma McCorvey, was exactly 19,520 days old. These long counts really make me question what's going on, right? It's so wild. Norma McCorvey died at the age of 69. Norma McCorvey equals 69. So does her ex-husband, Woody McCorvey, 69. The Jesuit Order Catholic Church equals 69. Notice how Norma McCorvey and Woody McCorvey also both match the Jesuit Order, 186. Roe dying 191 months after Wade. Society of Jesus, 191. I think it's pretty undeniable when you look at all of this. A really strong 666 riddle in here as well. Again, this will be linked in the description below. All right, so probably going to wrap the video up there. Shout out to everybody jumping in the live chat. Whether you're watching live or archived, everyone's encouraged to like the video, as it will slightly help YouTube's algorithm in regards to sharing and whatnot. But again, this video, I just mainly wanted to follow up on two videos I made over the past couple weeks that could have made a little more sense. But really the connection of Norm Macdonald to Norma McCorvey, who was Roe in the Roe v. Wade, all connected to these recent abortion rallies. So, yeah, and again, I'm making this video because, you know, I'm not the only one decoding these things, but I think a lot of us are focused on separate things, and it's important for everyone to, you know, bring their research to light. All right, guys. Thanks again for jumping in. Peace, love, God bless. We'll talk to you soon. See ya. Oh, wait a minute, guys. You didn't think I was really done, did you? One more thing I wanted to mention. Because I think there's something to it. Norm Macdonald had one major Hollywood film that he helped write and star in, and this was called Dirty Work. He did star in a couple other films, but this is the one that he was the most responsible for. And am I making a stretch here when I say that Dirty Work could be an underhanded reference to abortion, which is, of course, some dirty work, right? And this film came out in 1998, and I talk about this frequently because 1998 is 666 times 3. And this movie came out on the date 6/12, June 12th. And 6 plus 12 is the same as 6 plus 6 plus 6. And again, maybe this is a stretch, but what's so interesting about this is that this story is based on a story by Roald Dahl. And look at the dates of Roald Dahl. September 13th, which is just one day before the death of Norm Macdonald, one day before the birthday of Margaret Sanger. And then he was born in 1916, just 1 month before the establishment of Planned Parenthood, which was in 1916. And then Roald Dahl died on November 23rd, which is one day before the establishment of the International Planned Parenthood Federation, November 24th. And then the name Roald, right? Roe, Roald? I don't know, guys. Again, maybe it's a stretch, but just wanted to make that connection. All right, going out for real. Thanks again. Talk to you soon.